Hey, this is Jamie with Stonemeyer Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite mechanism in a little game from Button Shy called Hierarchy. I just played this today, and it was one of those games where I played it and immediately wanted to play it again, and did play it right again because it plays so quickly. It's a simple game with only 17 cards, and the mechanisms itself are very simple. I won't even go into too much detail here, but basically, you're going to be given a hand of cards, and you play a card, and then the opponent plays a card on top of it, and then you play a card on top of that card, until one of the players cannot play a card. The cards each have numbers on them, different numbers through 13. I believe the king is the highest, and then the assassin is the lowest. And in general, you have to play the cards in ascending order. You can't play a lower card. But each of the cards has a special rule on it that kind of breaks that. Some are restrictions. Some say, like the queen here says, may only be played when the line has a baroness in it, a specific card. Others can be played differently. There's one that can be played, the assassin may be played atop any card except the tower and the leper. So they have exceptions to the rules. And the first player who can't actually play a card is out. They lose the game. So it could go until the very last card in the game. Sometimes it ends a little bit earlier than that. And the two plays I found, it ended just a tiny bit earlier than that. And there are two things about this game, other than the fun puzzle of this, that I really enjoy. One of them is that there's no private information. You know exactly what cards your opponent has, and you know exactly what cards you have. You have that open information. So it really is a puzzle throughout the game, even though you don't know exactly which card your opponent is actually going to play. The other really cool thing about this game is you might have noticed that these cards are double-sided, and they are the same on each side except for the color. So at the beginning of the game, you take this deck of, actually, do I have all cards here? I don't have all the cards here. There are 14 cards. You take the deck, you shuffle it up without looking at it, and then you give 7 cards to your opponent, and you keep 7 for yourself. And those are all the cards of the game, and they are all in play. And they all go face up on the tables. They're double-sided, so you couldn't have a hand of cards anyway. And the color for you is whichever color you play. And so I might put, if I'm green, I'll put all the green cards face up in front of me. My opponent would have purple in front of them. And that matters because some of the cards in the line interact with cards that only your opponent has played, and it's just a helpful guide to see who played the last card, unless you remember who played the last card. But I don't think I've ever seen this in a game before, where all of the cards are double-sided and they're identical other than the color, determining which player actually is controlling that card. I thought that was such a simple and brilliant use of the cards in this game. I guess essentially you could have played with 2 decks of cards and just kind of sorted it out at the beginning of the game. But I liked they were very efficient in the way that they use these cards. And the idea that the information is open in the game, as exemplified by the double-sided cards, you couldn't play this closed-handed because you could see my hand of cards, is really clever. It adds to the puzzly nature of it. And it's just really, really cool. I highly recommend checking this out. This is a brilliant little game. I would compare it, even though the mechanisms are very different, if you like Hanami Koji, if you like that guessing game in Hanami Koji, even though there is a lot of closed information in Hanami Koji, it felt like a similar puzzle to that game. That's Hierarchy here. Really, really cool mechanisms in this game. Thanks. Oh, I should ask a question. If you played this game and you have a different favorite mechanism, or you want to talk about your favorite mechanism of the game, I'd love to hear that. Or if you know of another game that uses double-sided cards in this way or a different way, I'd love to hear about that in the comments as well. Thanks.